What's good, people? This is Sam O'Reilly from the Fight Talk podcast in association with Round 8. Myself and James are luckily joined tonight by Dave, the White Rhino Allen. Dave, how are you, mate?
Well, thank you, mate.
Hello, Dave. Obviously, you've got a fight coming up. You're in camp at the moment. How is camp going, mate?
Yeah, it's good. Found out about this fight, probably 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, maybe. So, started training steady straight after the Ortiz fight. Been getting fit, really. That's about it. Not been doing anything spectacular. Getting fit, and last few weeks got back sparring. So, it's not a great opponent. It's just a fight to come back to and win and work on a few things. So, everything's gone good.
I mean, the geezer's had 50 fights, like you say. I mean, you want to get back to winning ways after the two opponents you've been with, but he is a guy who's been around for a long time. I think he's had 50 fights as a pro. So is there any, is that the kind of opponent you wanted for the next fight?
Yeah, we had the board knocked a lot of opponents back, a lot of Hungarians back, a lot of them had winning records. One had won 6 out of 7, but the board said they wasn't good enough. This fella's name popped up. I wasn't even sure. My manager just kept putting his name to me. I box check him and say yes. Like I said, this fella's had 50 fights. He's gone the distance with numerous world champions, Haye, Klitshcko, to name 2. So he's definitely tough. He's very tough and experienced. But at the same time, it's a safe fight where we're going to get the win. And it's a fight where if I want to stop the fella, and look good, I'm going to have to perform well. So, it's a safe victory, but at the same time, I'm going to have to perform well to get out of it what we need to get out of it.
Now, so you're fighting on the whole card. Obviously headlined by Gavin McDonnell, going for his world title shot. It's got the likes of Luke Campbell, Tommy Coyle on the card. It's a very good card overall. In regards to the other fights on the bill, what are your thoughts on the fights and what are your picks for the fights?
Well, as a fellow Doncaster man, Gavin McDonnell fighting for the world title is a big thing. For Doncaster, like the 2 world champions, 2 world champions in the same family of mine, Doncaster. So, looking forward to Gav. Hopefully he wins. If he's got a world title, James got one. Hopefully we can make a big show, for Doncaster. Luke Campbell, he's popular around Hull, around Yorkshire. Tommy Coyle's never in a bad fight. I think Ryan Burnett should be onto the card. So the card looks good. Some good fighters on there. I think the fight of the night should be Gav against the Mexican. We don't know what the Mexican is bringing, but a Mexican with a record, a good undefeated record, he's got to be good. So that's probably the fight of the night.
Yeah, do you know where you sit on the card, Dave? I mean, sometimes obviously not all fights are going to make it to television. Have you had any idea of any inclination where you're going to sit on the card?
Eddie said that my fight is going to be before the live televised fight. It's going to be shown live on Facebook. I think that's the new thing now. I think all the undercard is going out live on Facebook, and with a good performance. He said the fight's going to be shown live on. It's going to be shown on Sky afterwards on the live Sky show. It's going to be shown then. But obviously that depends on a good performance. If I don't perform well, they're not going to show it. So that's extra incentive to perform well. So the fight can be shown on the live show as well.
You briefly mentioned earlier on, obviously, your last opponent, Luis Ortiz. Obviously, he is regarded as one of the best in the world in the division. When you got in the ring with him, I mean, after the fight, did you feel like he gave as what you expected, or how did he compare to previous fighters or spars that you've had?
After the fight, the overwhelming feeling really was a disappointment that I wasn't in good shape, because never at any point did I feel like I was completely on my depth. I know I got beat, I know I got well beat, and then I got stops as well. But never at any point did I feel like on my depth, really. I thought, these top fighters, superstar fighters, number 1 in the division, they're not supermen, they're only men like you and me. So the overwhelming feeling was disappointment that I wasn't in correct shape to do what I can do. But Ortiz is very good. He's the best that I've boxed. Dillian White's a close second, because I think Ortiz is definitely, he looks to be on the slide now, but being in there with him, he was definitely the best that I've boxed. As far as sparring, I think one of them. I think he needs someone to really push him to bring the best out of him, like a lot of the Cubans, like Rigon Down. I tried putting it on him halfway through the fight, and and it seems to perform better then. So yeah, I think we're not going to see what he's really got till he's really pushed to his limits, and obviously I couldn't do that, so must wait for another day.
Yeah, you said obviously your fitness and stuff. I mean, for this fight, you've posted, and not only do you look in tremendous shape, you're posting a lot more training footage, and you seem happier in yourself. Is there, everyone knows the mental game, especially in boxing. Do you feel happier in life as well as as it appears in your training?
Yeah, the training's gone very well. I'm very fit, and I'm doing things correctly now. Even as far as the nutritional side, it was one extreme to the other. I either ate to the extreme where I ate way too much, all the bad stuff, and I'd be really heavy, really out of shape. And then for a few fights, I got myself where it looked like I was in great shape, but I wasn't doing it correctly. I was kind of starving myself, a little bit of dehydration. I wasn't doing it right. So this time, I've done it correctly. The training's been good. Like I said, I'm enjoying training. And there's not been any blips whatsoever, Usually there's a blip, kind of off the rails for a few weeks, kind of gone missing for a few weeks, or I have a bad few weeks with whatever, with gambling or with whatever else. But this time, there's been absolutely nothing gone wrong whatsoever. I only wish that I was fighting a big fight after this preparation. I'm not saying I just feel fit. I'm nowhere near 100% of where I can be in terms of fitness or whatever else. But everything that we're working on has gone correctly and gone well. So there's no excuse, and I can't complain.
I know you get asked it a lot because you're not, a massive heavyweight. But is there? I mean, I'm sure people want to know about cruiserweight. Why couldn't you make cruiserweight if you're doing it correctly and if you're training as hard as you are now? Is there a reason you couldn't make cruiserweight, or you think it's just for yourself? You wouldn't feel strong at that weight.
Well, 5 years ago, like nearly to the day when I boxed Hull, I boxed in the ABA quarterfinal against Simon Barkley, and I had to be 14 stone 4 on the day, and the lengths that I had to go to make weight as a 19-year-old kid, wasn't that. So as a man that's nearing 25 now, it's just not possible at all. I think a lot of these people that make these comments have never met me. No one would say to Dillian White, you can make cruiserweight, when me and Dilly are the same exact height, and my legs are 3 times the size of his. Maybe just because I'm quite small on my top half, so maybe it looks like I could make cruiserweight, but my legs are really big. I'm just as tall as some of these other big name heavyweights, so I can see where I can kind of see because my top half's not very big, and it's always been mentioned by people, but there's not 3.5 stone on me to lose, and that's what I'd need to lose to make cruiserweight viable at all, because I was struggling like mad to make it as a 19-year-old, so I don't see I'm going to make it any better now when I'm nearing 25.
You mentioned there, Dave, obviously your camp's going really well this fight round. There's been a lot of changes, etc. One thing I've noticed in this camp is Shed ABC. How did that come about? And what's the deal with Shed ABC? I see it's a few mates in there, and a few spars and whatnot. And I mean, how's that benefited you? Has it benefited your camp at all, or is it a bit of a laugh, or what is it?
Well, Shed ABC, really, what it is, my dad was training, not really training me. He was doing a little bit of pad work. So we was going in Shed ABC, which is just a double garage, really, but Shed ABC just got a better into it. So we was training in there. People kind of was wondering, like, what is this Shed ABC all about? So I said, people can come down, and anyone can come down and, have a little bit of a look around, have a little bit of a training session. And it's been quite busy, really. A lot of my friends have been down. A lot of people that I don't even know and never met before have come down as well and joined in. So, I have my own training. I don't really do any training. I don't really do any real training in there. But, it keeps me busy. A by gambling, led astray by just being a very weird, different man. So kind of having these people coming to look at ABC and whatever else, it is all a bit of a laugh, but it kind of keeps me busy. So yeah, that's all it is really. It's a bit of a laugh and that, but it's nice to get these people down and get them interested in boxing. And some of them, we've even had some pros down to train. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun really, but yeah, it's keeping me busy, so it's all good.
You've got probably a big following on Twitter. I think obviously you're very interactive on there, so it helps. And you go live on Instagram a lot and stuff, and people really connect to you. What's the everyone's reaching out to you for tickets and stuff. Does that feel a little bit surreal now? You've always been someone that people like talking to and have a lot of respect for, but I mean, even more so now, the sheer number of people I see asking you for tickets and stuff that you haven't even met. Does that feel a bit strange to you?
It is a bit strange, and first and foremost, for the fight in Hull, I've not actually sold any tickets personally, like handed tickets over really to anyone that I know, apart from people from the gym. Everything else has been done via social media. All the tickets have been sold to people that I've never met before in person. So in a way, I'm very grateful for everything. It's like these total strangers are taking a massive interest in wanting to see me succeed, which for me is a bit weird. I can't even use the word. I don't even like using the word fan or fans or whatever. These people are a big part of these people buying tickets and whatever else are a big part of a big good part of my life, because without them, I wouldn't be boxing full stop. Like I say, if you can't sell tickets, you don't box full stop. So these technicals, what they have to be strangers, are the ones that are backing me to get to where I want to get. So I do find it surreal, because, like you say, a lot of people now, and I get a lot of messages of random messages of people showing the support, or people saying, "Can I come to Shed ABC and meet you? Can we do this and that?" So I just find it weird, Like I've always said, I'm just a fat kid from Doncaster, so I do still find it a little bit weird.
Listen, Dave, you've got to give yourself a lot of credit. I mean, do you remember when you were sparring Dillian and I came and met you? We did a little interview and stuff, and even then there was some boys that had met up with you, and I think it was through Twitter as well. They just said, "Look, we'd love to meet you while you're local," and you took the time out and met up with them. So I think you got to give yourself a lot of credit for being, someone that the people feel close to, and they have a connection with you in one way or another. Whether you feel it or not, I think the guys feel connected to you just because you're so interactive and stuff. So you got to give yourself credit there, mate.
I think what a lot of it is I think it's just a lot of normal working class men or whatever else see a lot of themselves in me. I'm a boxer and stuff, but like the boxing aside, I'm a very flawed human being, which most of us are. And I think they might maybe look at Anthony Joshua, and he's portrayed to be, the perfect machine or whatever. And I think because I'm very open and about what I am and who I am, I think maybe people like that, but I don't meet these people or interact with people either thinking it's good for business or it's good for this or that. I just do it because that's what I do. I don't know. I've always done it and I always will. I don't know what it is. I just do it. So yeah, maybe that's what it is.
I mean, we've had you on the show before, and we spoke about social media last time, but it's a bit different that time. We spoke about it in the fact that you talked yourself into the fight with Dillian Whyte via social media. So obviously you've done both sides. You took yourself in a fight through social media, yet you also interact with fans, and obviously, like say, meet up with fans, things like that through social media. How much of a toll with social media within boxing do you think, like you mentioned, Anthony Joshua, names of Joshua, Wilder, etc., should they utilise social media more?
I think, personally speaking, for me, if there was no Twitter or no whatever, I'd still be. I probably wouldn't be boxing. I'd be knocking them out on local shows. 4 or 6 rounds. I couldn't sell a ticket. So for me personally, it's got me fights with 2 of the best heavyweights in the world. It's got me a chance now to work with Matchroom on a longer term basis and make something of myself. Social media really for me has been everything. So, I go on Instagram Live now. I was doing Instagram Live shows. Next thing you know, Josh was doing them. Everyone else is doing them. So, I don't know. I spot these things. So it's massive. Social media now. Like Matt shows now, the undercards are going to be shown live on Facebook. Broner's show tonight, the undercard that's going to be broadcasted live on Showtime's Twitter. Social media now is a massive come-out box. If you wanna get yourself out there, you wanna do this. O'Hara Davis seems to be the new one that's starting to use this to get his name out of there. So yeah, I think not you'd be stupid not to, because if you're not that way inclined, it's not easy to do. But yeah, I think social media is a massive tool that can be used to get yourself out there. But you've got to be able to fight to back it up at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. You touched there on Eddie, and you're on the Matchroom show. Obviously, has there been discussion upon length of contract with Matchroom, or how many fights, or what happens after this fight? Where do you stand with Matchroom at the moment?
Well, I don't have anything signed or nothing to that, nothing like that. But I'm fighting Hull. A winning Hull could see me on the qualifier card. But it's all dependent. Everything's dependent now on next Saturday night. But Kel's going to fight Spence at Bramall Lane. I think he's definitely going to fight him in Sheffield by the looks of it. So there's another card for me to be on. I think as long as I'm winning and looking well, the domestic scene's wide open. So, and Eddie's not really got any heavyweights on the domestic scene, so, why not me? So that's what we're thinking. Obviously one fight at a time, fighting Hull, get another fight in, and then, the long-term aim is the Spence book show against Ian Lewis, and that's what I'm lobbying for, anyway, so I'm sure I'll do Eddie's head in until that happens.
You put me nicely on to the next question. Ian Lewis himself. Obviously, there's been a bit of back and forth between you again on Twitter. Obviously, like you just mentioned there, you want the fight with Lewis, and you feel it's a British title-worthy fight. Let us know where you sit in regards to Lewis' fight.
I think I like Ian Lewis. I've never met him, but I've watched his interviews. I think he speaks very well. He's a nice enough fella. I think he's a good fighter. I want to fight him because I think underneath, the top 5 or 6 in Britain, that you could class, they're all world level or around world level. I think me and Ian Lewis are the best 2 fighters out there. So I want to fight him. I don't want to fight number 4, number 5, number 10. I want to fight number 1, and I think that's Ian Lewis underneath them top 6. I think with the British heavyweight division, you can kind of put it into two divisions. You got your top 6 at world level, and then you got the rest of us below, stepping out of the British title, trying to catch up with the other 6, trying to get where the other 6 are. So yeah, I want to fight Ian Lewis because I think he's the best. I don't want to fight him because I don't like him. I don't want to fight him because of whatever else. I'm not making it out. It's anything else. It's not. I want to fight him because I think it's going to be a brilliant fight, and beating him, I would earn a British title fight, and that's all I'm bothered about, really. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few fighters. I mean, last week I was at that show in London, York Hall, Dove Box, and you had Akinlade, and he had a shock defeat. We spoke about it. I mean, I know you rate Akinlade quite a bit, and obviously Tom Little knocked out Tom Dallas within, I think, a minute or 2. Those 2 fight, well, not Akinlade so much now, although it does look like he's still going to get an English title fight. Tom Little looking to make a run up the rankings. What do you think of a fight like that, a possible potential, eliminator for the British title?
Yeah, there's a lot of good heavyweights like that. Nathan Gorman, who was meant to fight Akinlade, he's a brilliant fighter. I think Tom Little's a good fighter. He's a very good boxer and very sharp as a heavyweight. There's a lot of Nick Webb. There's a lot of heavyweights about. But the way I see, I've got the fight in Hull, and then I've got one other and Lewison. So, I'm booked up with Hull, and then I'm booked up with Lewis, and there's a fight in between there. I'm not sure who that's going to be against, but I do believe Ian Lewis is number 1, and that's what I'm getting from everyone else as well. No one's saying I want to see you fight Tom Little. No one's saying I want to see you fight Nick Webb. I want to see you fight. They want to see me in. So that's the fight. That's the fight I want. If it's going to be in Sheffield, obviously tickets do need to be sold. But it is a business at the end of the day, and I think me and Ian Lewis is the best fight for all concerned. You know, good luck to Tom Little, good luck to Nathan Gorman, good luck to Nick Webb. But I want Ian Lewis, and I've got my eye on that fight. I think he's #1 man. So I'm kind of blinkered towards that fight. I've been blinkered towards that fight now for the past 6 weeks or so. Probably since the Ortiz fight. So I'm not jumping into it straight away because I know Ian Lewison's a good fighter. I need to get a few wins and get properly conditioned, and that's what I want. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Definitely a fan-friendly fight, and like you say, you want to give the fights that people want to see. Cornish Sexton, I think it's been mandated for the British, if I'm not wrong. Is it just me, or is that a weird fight that's been made? I mean, I don't know what either of them have really done to deserve a British title shot. Bit strange. What's your thinking about that?
I think Sam Sexton, years ago, I remember watching Sam Sexton win the Commonwealth title against Martin Rogan, and I'd never boxed in my life at that point. So that's how long ago that was. And he hasn't got a win on his record, a good win on his record since Martin Rogan. He never had a good win on his record pre-Martin Rogan. So it's a weird one. I think Sam Sexton's a good boxer. I think he's a good boxer, but I don't see what he's done to earn the shot. He's always been fought foreigners since 2012. That no one's heard of. Gary Cornish has never beat anybody. His best win's Laurie Alabama, who we beat on points the fight after I stopped him in 2 rounds. So I find it confusing. I'm not saying they're bad fighters. I just think the board. I don't think I've not earned a British title fight. I've won up for 2 losses. I'm not saying it should have gone to me. I don't think it should have gone to Ian Lewis even off the stop his loss. But I just think the board could have made some eliminators. Could have made Sexton Cornish as a British title eliminator. It could have made me and Lewison, and then 2 semi-finals, then a final, and the finals obviously the British title fight. I just think it was poor that it's been mandated for the British title. I think it's going to be a poor British champion, to be honest. I don't think either of them have earned it. I'm not saying they're bad fighters, but they've not earned a British title shot. I know Gary's fighting tonight. Good luck. It's a smashing volley, Gary Corn. I just think it's a poor fight.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I don't think it's a very difficult one because a lot of the guys who want the British title are coming off losses and such. But it made sense what you say. A little tournament, the winners face each other for the British title. It would have made perfect sense for me. But the British.
David Price shouldn't have got greedy, and he should have come back to domestic level and boxed Gary Cornish, or he should have come back in a rematch with Sam Sexton. David Price in the British title fight against Sam Sexton against Gary Cornish, you wouldn't complain because Price is a big name, but Sexton Cornish was absolutely nothing for me, and I think it's absolutely nothing for the majority of British boxing fans as well.
That's it. Now, what was talking about the heavyweight division? Obviously, I think it's just 2 weeks away now. David Haye, Tony Bellew. It's a big fight. What's your opinions on that fight? And what are your thoughts on that? What way would it go?
I think it's a terrible mismatch, to be honest. I think I sparred Tony Bellew, and I think he's a very good fighter. It was a 6-round spar. I wasn't particularly very fair at the time. But he's a cruiserweight. He's a moderately big cruiserweight. And David Haye was one of the best cruiserweights ever. Although with Holyfield and Johnny Nelson and the rest of them. So I just think it's a bit of a mismatch, to be honest. I will watch it. I like Tony Bellew. I think he's a brilliant fighter. He's a WBC world champion, so obviously we know how good he is. But I think if David Haye's got 50% left of what he had, 2012, which is the only intriguing part of this fight, then he must win in 2 or 3 rounds. Is how I see it. I don't know.
Yeah, I did the fight talk, like we did a prediction video, and again Tony Bellew, we did an interview with him last night on the channel. It's not it's difficult to be disrespectful because he's taken the big fight like Kell did against Golovkin, isn't it? But I just think it's too much. I think it's an ask. David Haye, no matter if he's the same fighter or not, that power isn't going to leave. And for someone like Bellew who hasn't fought at heavyweight in the pro game, I just think it's too much. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's too much. I mean, do you think AJ Klitschko is more of a 50-50 than some people think? I mean, I've seen a few people say that they think AJ blasts him out of there. I'm not sure about it being as easy as that. What are your thoughts on Klitschko and AJ?
Yeah, if I had to pick one or the other, I'd go Klitschko. I think I think the step up from Martin Breezy to Klitschko is too big. But there's two sides to every coin, and Klitschko is 41 now, I think, and he's not boxed for 18 months. I can see Joshua taking Martin around the two, and but at the same time, I can see Klitschko knocking Joshua out. I can see him outpointing Joshua. So I don't know. I see more ways of Klitschko winning than Joshua. So for that, I would have to edge. I'd have to side with Klitschko. But it's a fight I'm looking forward to. It's an intriguing fight. You know, we're not really sure how good Joshua is yet. Apart from the white fight aside, he's not been in a fight, so it's going to be interesting. I don't think he's going to get in a fight with Klitschko. I think they're going to stand off each other. I think Joshua's just best good. I'll point it on him. We know he doesn't like the pressure. Joshua is definitely sharp. He can punch a little bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's competitive. I think it's nearing a 50-50 at this point of Klitschko's career. So that's a fight I'm definitely looking forward to.
And just finally from me, we did ask out on Twitter for any questions for yourself. One that was sent in to me was, do you have any pre-fight rituals at all?
Nah, I don't have any at all. I'm not that kind of man. I don't think about things too much. I have absolutely none whatsoever. No.
Another Twitter question, Philip Holding. Most skilled heavyweight you shared a ring with, including sparring?
Most skilled, probably Tyson Fury, and I think that's from him. You know, when Tyson was a younger man, he went all over sparring. He was in the Klitschko camp as a very young man. He's been around lots of different gyms training as well. He's had a few different trainers, and I think he's very skillful. Although you might not think that when you watch him in the ring, he's a very skilled boxer. You know, he's very intelligent in the ring. So I'd probably have to say Tyson Fury.
Right, it's fight week now. 7 days to your fight. Talk us through your final preparations, and when do you do any public workouts, and when are the weigh-ins and press conferences, anything like that?
Well, next week, Monday, Tuesday, I'll finish off training with some pad work. Go through a few things. I know it's only a 6-rounder with what some people might call a journeyman, but you still have to prepare like it's a big fight. So we'll finish the training up. We'll go through a few things. Wednesday's a total off day. Thursday, I think, is the press conference. Friday, the weigh-in, and I'll be in Hull from either Thursday or Friday, and then the fight Saturday. So I'll start worrying about the fight when I get in the ring. So luckily, I'm that kind of character. I don't worry about things. I enjoy the press conference. I enjoy the weigh-in. I enjoy the things, and then it's time to get down to business Saturday night.
Have you picked out a tweed suit and a hat you're going to wear, or?
I'm not sure if I'm at the press conference yet. To be honest, I'm not sure if I'm there, but if I am there, I'll be looking to impress. Don't worry about that.
Well, Dave, mate, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for giving up your time and coming on the Fight Talk podcast. We look forward to Saturday, and just look forward to you getting back in there and getting back in the winning column, mate.
That's the plan, mate. Just a win. I'll take a win however it comes.
That's it.
So, having me on, mate. Thank you.
Pleasure, mate. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks for coming on, Dave.
That's fine, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye, mate.
Cheers, Dave. Bye-bye.
We've had a substitution. Dave Allen and James Lupton are out, and I'm bringing in Craig Scott from Fight Talk, who works alongside me, obviously. This is going to be a regular thing now. After we've had our special guest of the week, myself and Craig are going to go over the week's boxing, what's coming up, what's happening in the news, and yeah, so that's the plan from here on out. Craig, how are we, mate?
I'm good, mate. This reminds me of being in high school when I used to always get substituted on late in the game as well. So yeah, no, it's good to be here. How are you, mate? Yeah,
all good, mate. All good. Tell us about the show you was at last night, Mickey Elliott's show.
Yeah, big show last night. I went to York Hall. Hellraiser put a show on. Mickey Elliott put a show on. These shows are. It's the first time I've actually been to a Mickey Elliott show. They start super early. So the first fight was about 5:30, and they just cram so many fights in. It's fantastic. If you're down there, if you get a ticket, if you're supporting somebody, you've got a full night of boxing. And there was a lot of good fights. I know myself and you went to the Dove Box show last week. and a lot of the fights went the distance, and even though there was some good bouts, there maybe wasn't a lot of explosive finishes. And then last night, there was a couple of good scraps, a couple of 50-50 type fights, but a couple of really, really nice finishes as well. Asinya Byfield, who was, for me, the main event, defending his super welterweight Southern Area title against John Brennan. Byfield looked sensational, looked really, really good. Explosive finish against Brennan in the 5th round. Looked at a level above, really, and I would expect to see him fighting at a level above in the future, no doubt. Another couple of good performances. John Harding Jr. debut, fans' favourite. Obviously, we covered him on the Fight Talk channel. Good to see him finally in action, shaking off the stigma.
It's been coming. It's been coming, isn't it? He's obviously cancelled last week, wasn't he? On the night. I mean, that was mad. That was frustrating for him and everyone involved. But that was some boxing politics or whatever, weight issues. But he finally got in there, didn't he? Finally got the job done.
He got in there. It was a tough fight, but that was good. There was a lot of good action. Richard Riapori as well from Miguel's gym looked explosive. Finished his guy in the 1st round. Good fight for him. And Kean Thomas, who I've never seen before, former amateur national champion, looked very, very good against Ryan Hardy as well. So, a couple of great fights, mate. It was good to be there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I've been to a few Elliott shows. You get good value for money, don't you? Like you said, starting that early. Sometimes you want to bring a packed lunch, you know what I mean? It goes on a while, but you definitely get your value for your money if you're buying a ticket. You're right. I mean, the thing with Elliott shows, he struggles to have a big standout star, doesn't he? As a promoter, he's got some good fighters, Sia Osgood and stuff, but I think in a way it kind of helps him because, you know, sometimes when these guys have a big fighter and, you know, their main man, they can sort of have one main event and then a few other smaller fights just to pack the card. But this is just, you know, this is packed, isn't it? He has a lot of fights that are 50-50 fights as well as guys that are on the up and get the finishes. So yeah, I think he's, as a small hall promoter goes, I think Elliott, he's a good man. I think he does some good work.
You can tell for me that Mickey Elliott lives and breathes boxing. You can tell that, you know, everything he does, it's all about putting on a good show. Seems like he's got a lot of time for these fighters. And you can tell, you know, after one of his guys won a fight last night, he was in the ring, as promoters normally do. You know, he was smiling from ear to ear, you know, and he was just loving it. It seemed like he loved being there, and he loved the show coming together and just happening.
Was he Eddie Herman? Was he lifting a fighter up on that before the ref had stopped it? Did he do any of that?
There was no Eddie Hearn type behaviour from Elliott last night.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Well, yeah, but no, it was a great night, and I think the atmosphere was fantastic as well. That Byfield Brennan fight, for anyone that didn't see it, if that makes its way onto Channel 4 like a few of his other shows have, what a fight that was. That was fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I'm gutted I missed that one. Byfield's always in good fights. I think you did a good article today and you touched upon his fight with Herman. That is his only... I think that's his only defeat, isn't it, Herman?
That's the only time he's lost, and I read an article, Boxing News did an article on that piece, and the guy that wrote the article was just shocked that Byfield didn't get that decision. He said he had Byfield clearly winning that fight against Herman. I didn't actually see that one myself. I'd like to go back and watch it, but he looked very, very good last night.
That's that for me is one of the major problems that we have with small halls. Not only are they not televised, but not all of them are even given the time of day. Like you said, Elliott sometimes gets his shows Channel 4'd months later, but it's not ideal if you want to, you know what I mean. If you want to do a bit of research or go back and watch certain fights, you can't always find a place to do that, which can be a bit of a pain in the arse. But I'm sure things have changed. Hopefully there'll be another outlet that gives these small hall fights a bit more of the time of day. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they deserve it, and I think they deserve even. You know, I've done a couple of articles on the small halls myself, and even just taking the time out to write a little piece on it and sharing that amongst the fighters on social media. You can tell the respect that they give you in return for doing that is massive, and it makes it really worthwhile for these guys because they're putting all the graft in, but because they're not signed to major promoters yet, or because they don't have crazy exposure yet, they kind of sometimes are left in the dark a little bit. So I would encourage everybody to get involved in these shows. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You know, this is how the sport gets life. You know, from the ground up, like we spoke about.
100%, man. Obviously, I was at the the Goodwin press promotion day, media day, whatever they call it.
Long day for you today, mate.
Long day, man. I was at the house at like 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. It broke my heart, but to be honest, you know, it was a pleasure to be asked by Steve Goodwin and his team to get down there. I've currently got 30 odd interviews, or 25 interviews sitting there waiting to be edited and uploaded. And again, just today, all the boys I spoke to, so many of them, they've never even done interviews. All right, a few of them missed their pro debut, so you wouldn't expect, but a few of them are like 2-0 or 3-0 and haven't done an interview. There's been no platform at all for them to get out there. So it's been missing that, and obviously we know our own plans to get that, but it's a sad state of affairs that currently, or before us should I say, because we know what we're here to help the up and coming guys, that there's no one there giving a platform to these boys. So yeah, Small Hall needs more of a push, and hopefully it gets it now in 2017.
Yeah, well, I know obviously yourself and me as well, we'll obviously be behind it the whole year and pushing it the whole year, but you know, it's good for these guys. And I know today you were obviously there and it was a long day, but you know, we spoke earlier on and you said it was great to speak to these guys and find out about, you know, different people you might not have heard of, and try and get an idea of how they're going to be promoted in the future and how far these guys can go in terms of media and stuff like that. It must have been quite interesting for you to speak to people who we might not have heard of before. Yeah,
man, it's fantastic. You hear the different stories and the different gyms, the different areas. You know, some boys turning over, and one of them's just turned 19, and he's like, he wants to, you know, start from a very young age. One guy's turning pro and he's 30 years old. You know what I mean? There's so many different stories, and these guys need their stories told, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure they'll get there. We'll get there. We'll all work together and get the Small Halls the respect and the platform it deserves. I want to move on to something from last night. Probably the polar opposite of Small Hall is an Adrian Broner fight. I mean, the man wraps himself to the ring and stuff like that. I don't think you could get much different from Small Halls than Adrian Broner.
Adrian Broner, was anybody combing his hair last night, or was it?
Mate, I saw his intro and I've read a lot of the fight reports, but obviously I haven't seen it yet. I was up, but I think the fight finished an hour before I got up. But
I think apparently the fight was a cracker. I know they changed the weight limit. I know Adrian Broner changed the weight limit from 140 to 147 just whenever he wanted. Just decided he was going to change it.
He does what he wants.
He does what he wants, doesn't he? I think I heard it was a good fight, but I also heard a couple of people on social media throwing about statements that Broner's not world class, he's not elite level. And I wanted to speak to you about what you thought. Do you think he's a world champion at 4 different weights?
That's insane.
Has he been lucky? To be Can you be lucky to be a world champion at 4 weights?
No, he's just a prick. I mean, I think it's kind of as simple as that. I think he's just a prick, and he really, honestly, I had the conversation today. He's talented as fuck. Like when he actually fucking wants it, and when he's actually dedicated to it, he's a talented guy, man. And I don't think a lot of his fights, a lot of his world titles have been luck. Sometimes you're in the right place at the right time, but he kind of was doing well. But I think his arrogance always got in his own way. There's arrogance and there's cockiness, but for me, he just goes too far. You know, when he got beat by Maidana and stuff, he was, you know, he's the catalyst for his own downfall a lot of the time. Now, talking about last night's fight, obviously, I saw it on Twitter, so it must be true. A couple of people reckon that he should have lost the fight. I don't know. I ain't seen it. I need to watch it back, but you know, I don't know.
I had a few people saying he was a clear winner for them, and they were people whose opinion I would trust. I didn't watch it myself. I managed to catch the Peterson-Avanesyan fight. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I most definitely did pronounce it wrong.
No, you got it right. I think David Avanesyan, isn't it? Avanesyan?
That was all right. Yeah. Avanesyan. I caught that fight. I didn't catch the Adrian Broner fight, but from what I read this morning, a lot of people thought it was the right decision. But obviously, this is social media. You don't really know. It's opinions, right? It's all opinions.
It's opinions, and like we said a million times, boxing is so subjective.
Yeah.
So it's what you like. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion. I was gutted David Avanasian didn't get the victory, man. You and me, you know, we spoke about it briefly before. I fancied Peterson to do it just for the experience. He's been around a long time. I have a little bit of inactivity, but he's been around a long time. But yeah, Carl Greaves, David Avanasian's trainer, is a top bloke. I know him well. And I was gutted they didn't come away with the win. But, you know, he can come again. He can come again.
Yeah, he's still a good age.
He is. What do you think of Peterson? What do you think? Do you think he rolled back the years? I mean, do you think he deserves... I know he's a world champion.
I think he definitely won the fight for me. I think he won the fight by a few rounds, definitely. The only time I've ever really been impressed watching Lamont Peterson was when he fought Khan. That's the only time I thought he's a really good fighter. And I thought the game plan when he fought Khan was perfect. A lot of people moan about that fight, and Amir Khan moans about that fight, at least I think he won that fight. For me personally, I stayed up and watched that fight, and I had it by 1 round, I believe. There was points taken off, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Khan was pushing with his shoulder or something. I can't remember what it was, but he got a point taken off. I had it Peterson by 1 round, that fight, and that was the only time I really thought he was a top-level guy. But then I was not surprised when he lost the title soon after that. What do you think?
You know, I don't know, man. Like, Peterson's one of these guys. He's in a division where there's so many fighters. Do you know what I mean? You got Brook and Spence, and then Garcia, Furman. Like,
yeah.
they're for me all better than him. So
yeah,
it's difficult, isn't it? It's kind of, sometimes we all know styles make fights, but you don't necessarily know if a guy, I mean, like Peterson took Avanasian's title, yeah. But was Avanasian a legit top-level world champion? That is questionable, you know? So, I don't know. I think he needs another big fight. I mean, would you want to see him fight Khan again?
I think the fight makes sense for Khan. I think it's a much easier way to get your hands on a world title than fighting any of the other guys. And I think the style, going back to saying would Peterson beat any of those guys, the style that Peterson has, where he kind of marches forward and works the body a lot and does a lot of work on the inside, that style, unfortunately, in this current era, is made for every other one of those guys that you spoke about. Every other guy eats that up all day. So he's kind of a victim of his own success right now, because every other fighter in that division who's at the top level just picks him apart, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think Khan Peterson is a decent fight. I don't know. I say it's a decent fight, but then do I want to see it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You know what it is? Khan is kind of crossroads, ain't he? He's like, he got knocked out by Canelo, which no shame in, whatever. But there was all the talk of him fighting Brook, and now we know that ain't happening. What fight is for him is going to get the British public really, really, you know, excited about him fighting again? That's the question.
I said it before after I watched the Canelo fight, and I think I've spoke to you about it when we were at one of these shows. For me, when a guy becomes more famous for repeatedly being knocked out heavily than he was for anything that he ever won, I think you have to think about hanging him up. And I know he's young, and I know he's quick, and I know he's got fast hands and everything else. You cannot stick to a game plan. You can never stick to a game plan. The Canelo fight, first couple of rounds, I thought he boxed really well. The Garcia fight, first couple of rounds, I thought he boxed really well. You just can't seem to stick to it. I don't know what it is. I
think Maidana was probably his best performance, and even then, he got shook out of his boots nearly. I mean, I think was it the 8th or the 10th one? I think it was 10th. And Freddie Roach, I remember him, he was literally on the verge of pulling him out of there. But he survived, and that was probably Khan's best ever performance, I think.
I think it took a lot out of him. I think that fight took more out of him than being knocked out by these other guys, maybe, because it was such a hard fight.
Yeah, Maidana's an animal, or was an animal. But, yeah, I don't know myself. I don't know where I want to see Khan fight. Probably Peterson now. There probably isn't many other options for him. Peterson makes sense, I think.
I think he beats Peter. I think he could beat Peterson in a rematch.
Yeah. We'll see. Time will tell on that one. Who do you think's the best in the division while we're on the subject?
I would say, well, let's look at the two matchups that we have.
Great fights.
If we treat them both as a semi-final,
yeah.
I think Garcia beats Thurman, and I think, do you know what? I think Brook beats Spence. I think Brook beats Spence. I'm going to put it on the line. Everybody on Twitter's going nuts. Spence is the guy. Spence is the guy. I don't know, man. He knocked out Algieri. All right, no worries. Pacquiao cut him down about 5 times. I think Brook's going to beat Spence. So I would say between Brook and Garcia, I don't know. It's tough. What do you think of the Garcia storm, and what way do you think that's going to go?
Oh, mate, Garcia can bang. Like, I know he's another one. He's kind of been a little bit inactive again, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And while he's been doing that, Furman's been totting up the wins and getting some good victories. That's a great fight. When's that? March 4th as well, isn't it?
Dude, that's a massive night.
That's Haye Bellew.
Haye Bellew, and I know the people who like boxing are probably going to want to shut their ears. Khabib Tony Ferguson, same night as well. UFC 209, I think. 208? 209, I believe. 209, yeah. Massive night of combat sports, isn't it? But for me, I think Danny Garcia's experience, I think, can beat Keith Thurman. You know, he's been in with all styles, and I think he'll adapt. He adapts. He's a good fighter, and he can bang. So I think Garcia wins. The Brook one, I disagree. I don't know if he can beat Spence. Nah.
And my problem with it is back to 147 after fighting GGG at 160. You know,
yeah. Well, we seen him. We seen him at the boxing show, didn't we? And he was looking. He's looking meaty at the boxing show.
That's one way to put it. Yeah. He did.
He looks like he had a good Christmas.
Yeah, he did
but
not look.
He's got a few months.
He's got a few months, but it's not good for you, man. It drains you. Obviously, losing weight is part of a camp, but when he's got to lose as much weight as I reckon he does. I mean, what do you reckon he was walking around at? 180?
Yeah, I'd say between 170 and 180.
That's a lot of weight, man.
Yeah, you would hope before he starts properly training for the fight, he's looking at losing a bit of weight. It's a hard fight. It's a very hard fight.
I reckon he's down his local Slimming World on a Wednesday at 6. He's got to be.
Man, Slimming World's alright. Slimming World's alright. You just get points for eating bad stuff, but you can still eat some good stuff as well. I'm all for it. Big up Slimming World every week.
Mate, I only know about it because I've looked into it. Things have gotten bad. I need to do something drastic.
February is ticking away now.
It is. January the 1st, it was all going to change, and now look, we're near March and I haven't done fuck all. Obviously, Dave Allen was just on the pod. He's fighting Saturday in Hull. A semi-decent card. Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It's like, it's a Sky card. Let's be honest, it's a good Sky card.
Yeah,
but
I think it's a good card for Hull.
Yeah.
To have.
Yeah, a bit racist there that the Northerners in Yorkshire just get a shit card, but.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean. Yeah. No, I think there's a couple of good fights on there. I'm looking forward to seeing Gavin McDonald. I think Gavin McDonald is up against it. If I'm honest, I think McDonald's made the best of like a European level skill set, and that's, I don't want to be harsh on Gavin McDonald.
I agree with you.
Hopefully he can summon up one crazy performance. But that's a tough ask. It's a tough ask.
Do you know anything about the geezer Luke Campbell's fighting?
I know he either fought for a world title or was a world champion before, no?
I think it was something like that. Yeah, I looked into it. I can't remember off the top of my head. But
what do you make of Luke Campbell?
Say again?
What do you make of Luke Campbell?
He's good, man. Like he's good. I think he's quick. He's got quick hands. I think probably, when he lost that fight, it might have been one of them things that was good for him, because he kind of refocused and he changed his camp.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's a good fighter. He doesn't excite me as such. You know what I mean? He doesn't do anything spectacular in my opinion, but he's very good at everything he does. But
yeah.
don't think there's any attribute you can look at him and go, well, he's excellent at that.
I think he's very technically sound, doesn't he? When we watched him against Derry Matthews, he was I think he throws shots the way they should be thrown. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing kind of erratic about the way he throws shots. He's very technically good. I thought the Mendy fight was disappointing. You know, a guy like that, he should be taking care of business against a guy like that. And whether that's because I know he's had a lot of stuff outside the ring, some personal stuff outside the ring, but hopefully he puts on a good performance in Hull. I'm sure he will. I just looked up this guy, Jairo Lopez, that he's fighting. He was a WBC Continental Champion, but he's never fought for a world title, and he's never held a world title. It'd be weird if he hadn't fought for one and had held one, wouldn't it?
Well, you say that. How did David Avanasian get his world title?
Well, he won the interim title though against Mosley, did he not?
He did. He beat Mosley for the interim, and then he was upgraded to the regular champ due to political stuff. So
how shit is that? You work all your years, and you just get you're the regular champ. You're just the regular champ.
And who was the English guy that got given a world title on the scales? It wasn't Haskins, was it?
Yeah. No, Lee Haskins. Yeah, he didn't have to fight for it.
He won it on the. I mean, that's crazy. Before the fight, your opponent doesn't make weight, and it was the IBF, wasn't it? Here you go.
IBF, yeah, but nobody wants that, does he? Lee Haskins doesn't want that. He wants to. It was the same as Cleverly when Cleverly first won his title.
Yeah, it was
WBO, I believe. He just got given it.
That's crazy. I mean, if someone came to me and offered it to me, I'd probably take it. So I do. I don't know. When you say they don't want it, I'd take it.
Yeah, I actually tried to steal the IBO from Reynold Quinlan's room, but no joy.
Oh dear. What about the rest of the card? What are we in? We got David Allen, our boy. He said to us he said to us he don't think he's going to make the Sky broadcast, but apparently Sky are trialing out a new, Facebook live style of the undercard that doesn't make it to Sky.
Okay.
So yeah, he might be on Facebook at like 6 o'clock.
I think Dave Allen is potentially the greatest fighter active on Twitter at the moment. I know you're a big fan of Dave Allen. I know we've had him on a few times doing different bits and pieces. Fantastic chat, Dave Allen. But he's always got something, and the way he does it is so tongue in cheek. I don't even think he means it to be laugh out loud funny, but the stuff he comes out with. But he's a very, very intelligent guy when he's talking about fighting as well. You can tell. I heard him talking about the Cornish Sexton fight, and everything he was saying made perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hope Dave Allen gets a good result there, and I hope he fights Lewison. And if he keeps up the shape that he looks to be in at the moment, I would fancy him against most of these guys domestic level.
Yeah, he's dry. He's dry as fuck. He's got a great sense of humour. And he's a top bloke. He's a top bloke, and yeah, I do. If he can keep his mind and his fitness, exactly like it looks to be right now, I reckon it'd cause problems for a lot of the domestic guys. All right.
Is he going to get? Are we doing a Fight Talk special at Shed ABC?
I can't even bother to go all the way up to fucking. Where is it, Donny?
We can find a shed here somewhere, can't we? We could easily find a shed here.
Yeah, we'll Photoshop him in and pretend that we're in the same place. Oh dear.
Who else is on the card? Luke Campbell, Tommy Coyle?
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the Tommy Coyle one.
Uh-oh.
Tommy Coyle's opponent, Kofi Yates, pulled out of the fight around 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And the opponent was replaced and given the offer and accepted it literally a day later. So I'm talking 2 weeks ago. Now, I was with the fighter today and I interviewed him and his promoter, so you can take from that what you will. And officially, Matchroom haven't announced him as the opponent. They're looking at hotels and trains and everything for 2 or 3 days' time because they kind of know they've got the fight. But for some weird reason, it hasn't been announced here and now. As of right now, it hasn't officially been announced. But yeah, fuck it, Rakeem Noble. Rakeem Noble's taking the fight. Bollocks. There's no point fucking beating around the bush.
Oh God, we're in the deep end. We fucking jumped into the deep end now. We're in a dangerous place. Raheem Noble.
Everyone knows. Raheem Noble.
Raheem Noble, dangerous fight.
I mean, Tommy Coyle, last time I saw him fight was Leeds in July against Nurse, right? He was meant to fight John Wayne Hibbert in November, pulled out because of personal problems, or first it was an injury, and it was a few things changed in his life, which are fair enough, as it does. But in July, it was a tough fight with Tyrone Nurse. I had him lose the fight. It was a tight fight. He dropped Nurse actually, but it was a sort of split. It was like I think it was a fucking jab when he was jumping in or something weird. It weren't a hard knockdown.
It wasn't a big shot. Yeah, I remember.
So listen, Tommy Coyle was a good fighter, but he was stopped by Luke Campbell. Let's not forget. And that was round. Work rate and mate.
Stopped by Derry Matthews, mate, as well.
Was he? Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Stopped by Derry late. He was winning the fight. Derry just dug deep and got him out of there. I think it was work to the body. Yeah,
as we know he can do. But yeah, so Tommy Coyle's a good fighter, but he's in no way, top level. And I think for Raheem, if Raheem goes up there on a couple of weeks' notice and gets a result, then it does massive things for him.
Yep. Unbeaten Raheem Noble at the moment, am I right?
Yeah. Southern area. He defended his Southern area title last time out against K Prosper. Good fight. Another York Hall. Another great small hall fight.
Is he? I feel like I say this every time we talk about someone. Is he training at Miguel's as well?
Yep. Yeah.
Everyone is training at Miguel's. Everyone we talk about is at Miguel's.
Miguel's buzzing, man.
I'm telling you, that camp is bouncing. There's people coming out the woodwork everywhere. Richard Riapori as well last night, good fighter as well. Shout out to him.
AJ Carter as well. We spoke to him last week, didn't we, at Tommy Dove's show?
Who's that, sorry?
AJ Carter.
AJ Carter, come back 1st of April, I believe. AJ Carter's coming back.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, just fighters everywhere from that gym.
There is. I reckon you could go in on one day and you could bring your camera and walk out there with like eight or nine really good interviews.
Definitely. And I tell you right now, every single one of them would be smiling and be happy and be in a good place because the atmosphere there just seems to be perfect. They've got some vibe going on. Ted Barmy, I think, has got a lot to do with that. The place just seems to be buzzing. So, yeah, fantastic stuff at Miguel's. Good fight for Noble. Looking Noble, that'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get the job done if the fight goes ahead, which I believe it does. I believe it's announced tomorrow. So if I put this out tonight and it isn't, I'm going to get abuse. But listen, everyone in boxing knows Raheem Noble's been offered the fight and has taken the fight as of a fortnight ago. I don't understand what the delay is, and neither did he. So I've actually got an interview with him waiting to drop as soon as they officially announce it. So I'm sure it will come out pretty soon. But it's a good fight. It's a good test for him. And it's a decent card. It's a decent Sky card, I think.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's free. Well, I'd say it's free. It's on the Sky Sports channels. None of this pay-per-view madness. So it's good for the fans to tune in and watch a world title fight, a couple of big fights domestically. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it can only be good. Hopefully Gavin McDonald gets it done because he seems like a really, really nice guy.
Maybe they could slip his brother in for 6 rounds as well. I mean, they're twins. You know what I mean? They keep him fresh.
That could work. Same weight? It's the same weight?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Or just alternate rounds.
They would never know.
And then the week after, obviously, we've got the big one, Haye Bellew. The interview, Bellew's up on the channel. The prediction video is all up on the channel. Check out Fight Talk for that. Anything else quickly, Craig, before we call it a night?
No, my friend, I think I'm good. Big couple of weeks coming, obviously, after the Haye Bellew fight. You've got a lot of stuff going on. Mr. Steve Goodwin's got a lot of big shows, which I know you're going to try and get to. A lot of big shows in York Hall. Small hall shows. We say small hall, small in speech marks, because there's nothing small about the atmosphere there. So I would just say keep an eye out for that, anybody that's listening. And keep an eye on the YouTube. Interviews dropping left, right, and centre.
Probably too many interviews. More interviews than hours in the day coming. There's about 26 in the tank. And talking to Steve Goodwin, he is hopefully, touch wood, the next guest on the Fight Talk podcast.
Perfect.
Listen, pleasure as always, mate. This is the new and improved Fight Talk podcast. Myself, Craig Scott. Earlier on was James Lupton from Round 8. We had Dave Allen on. Busy show. We look forward to speaking to you soon.